Subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon, to never miss a video from us. Hi everyone, welcome to Test Prep Training. In this video you will learn about some commonly asked questions in Microsoft Azure Architect Design, AZ-304. So let's get started. Question number 1. You need to recommend a solution to generate a monthly report of all the new Azure Resource Manager resource deployments in your subscription. What should you include in the recommendation? Your options are A. The Change Tracking Management Solution. B. Application Insights. C. Azure Monitor Action Groups. D. Azure Activity Log. The correct answer is option D. You can refer the following for the explanation of the answer. Question number 2. You have an Azure subscription that contains an Azure SQL database named DB1. Several queries that query the data in DB1 take a long time to execute. You need to recommend a solution to identify the queries that take the longest to execute. What should you include in the recommendation? Your options are A. SQL Database Advisor. B. Azure Monitor. C. Performance Recommendations. D. Query Performance Insight. The correct answer is option D. Question number 3. You have an on-premises Hyper-V cluster. The cluster contains Hyper-V hosts that run Windows Server 2016 Data Center. The hosts are licensed under a Microsoft Enterprise Agreement that has software assurance. The Hyper-V cluster contains 30 virtual machines that run Windows Server 2012 R2. Each virtual machine runs a different workload. The workloads have predictable consumption patterns. You plan to replace the virtual machines with Azure Virtual Machines that run Windows Server 2016. The virtual machines will be sized according to the consumption pattern of each workload. You need to recommend a solution to minimize the compute costs of the Azure Virtual Machines. Which two recommendations should you include in the solution? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Your options are A. Configure a spending limit in the Azure Account Center. B. Create a virtual machine scale set that uses auto-scaling. C. Activate Azure Hybrid Benefit for the Azure Virtual Machines. D. Purchase Azure Reserved Virtual Machine Instances for the Azure Virtual Machines. E. Create a lab in Azure Dev Test Labs and place the Azure Virtual Machines in the lab. The correct answers are option C and D. You can refer the following for the explanation of the answer. Number 4. A company has a hybrid ASP.NET Web API application that is based on a software as a service offering. Users report general issues with the data. You advise the company to implement live monitoring and use ad hoc queries on stored JSON data. You also advise the company to set up smart alerting to detect anomalies in the data. You need to recommend a solution to set up smart alerting. What should you recommend? Your options are A. Azure Site Recovery and Azure Monitor Logs. B. Azure Data Lake Analytics and Azure Monitor Logs. C. Azure Application Insights and Azure Monitor Logs. D. Azure Security Center and Azure Data Lake Store. The correct answer is option C. Question number 5. You have an Azure subscription that is linked to an Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, tenant. The subscription contains 10 resource groups, one for each department at your company. Each department has a specific spending limit for its Azure resources. You need to ensure that when a department reaches its spending limit, the compute resources of the department shut down automatically. Which two features should you include in the solution? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Your options are A. Azure Logic Apps. B. Azure Monitor Alerts. C. The spending limit of an Azure account. D. Cost Management Budgets. E. Azure Log Analytics Alerts. The correct answers are option C and D. You can refer the following for the explanation of the answer. Question number 6. Your company uses Microsoft System Center Service Manager on its on-premises network. You plan to deploy several services to Azure. You need to recommend a solution to push Azure Service Health Alerts to Service Manager. What should you include in the recommendation? Your options are A. IT Service Management Connector. B. Azure Event Hubs. C. Azure Notification Hubs. D. Application Insights Connector. The correct answer is option A. Question number 7. You have an Azure SQL database named DB1 that contains multiple tables. You need to improve the performance of DB1. The solution must minimize administrative effort. What should you use? Your options are A. Automatic tuning, B. Azure Advisor, C. Azure Monitor, D. Query Performance Insight. The correct answer is option A. You can refer the following for the explanation of the answer. Question number 8. You need to recommend a solution to generate a monthly report of all the new Azure Resource Manager resource deployments in your subscription. What should you include in the recommendation? Your options are A. Azure Advisor, B. Azure Analysis Services, C. Azure Monitor Action Groups, D. Azure Log Analytics. The correct answer is option D. Question number 9. Your company provides customer support for multiple Azure subscriptions and third-party hosting providers. You are designing a centralized monitoring solution. The solution must provide the following services. 1. Collect log and diagnostic data from all the third-party hosting providers into a centralized repository. 2. Collect log and diagnostic data from all the subscriptions into a centralized repository. 3. Automatically analyze log data and detect threats. 4. Provide automatic responses to known events. Which Azure service should you include in the solution? Your options are A. Azure Sentinel, B. Azure Log Analytics, C. Azure Monitor, D. Azure Application Insights. The correct answer is option C. Question number 10. You are designing an Azure resource deployment that will use Azure Resource Manager templates. The deployment will use Azure Key Vault to store secrets. You need to recommend a solution to meet the following requirements. Prevent the IT staff that will perform the deployment from retrieving the secrets directly from Key Vault. Use the principle of least privilege. Which 2 actions should you recommend? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note, each correct selection is worth 1 point. Your options are A. Create a Key Vault access policy that allows all get key permissions, get secret permissions, and get certificate permissions. B. From access policies in Key Vault, enable access to the Azure Resource Manager for template deployment. C. Create a Key Vault access policy that allows all list key permissions, list secret permissions, and list certificate permissions. D. Assign the IT staff a custom role that includes the following. E. Assign the Key Vault contributor role to the IT staff. The correct answers are option B and D. You can refer the following for the explanation of the answer. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.